Hey there, thanks for tuning in to DebtBytes. I'm Michael Bovee with Consumer Recovery Network, and today I have a guest with me to talk about a very concerning issue. With me today is Eric Olson from Helps. Hey, Eric, thanks for coming on to our channel today to talk to senior citizens mainly, or people that are on disability, about their options when they're forced to deal with debt collectors. How you doing?
Thanks, Mike. I'm glad to be here with you.
So, Eric, your organization Helps. Would you take a moment and help viewers understand what it is that motivates you, what Helps is there to do to assist them with?
And so what Help specifically does is we represent seniors, generally lower income seniors who owe debt they can't afford to pay, to prevent the collectors from harassing them. Under federal law, if you're represented by an attorney, collectors have to leave you alone. They can no longer call you on the phone. They can no longer send you letters. And we send them a letter. We tell them, hey, we represent this person to receive this communication. Don't talk to him anymore. And then we tell our senior that they've got to stop worrying about it. They don't need to pay the debt. They cannot take their money from them. And if they ever have a question or if they're ever worried, they call us on the phone, and we represent them on an ongoing basis. We never turn anyone away. It's very needful. 40% of seniors are within 200% of the poverty line in America. They retire owing more debt than ever before. They don't know what to do. They don't need to file bankruptcy because their income is protected. They can't afford it. But if they don't pay the debt, the creditors can make their life miserable. They can be intimidated, scared, buffaloed, and go without food or medicine. So that's what we do. I've been an attorney for 40 years, and I started Helps about 4 or 5 years ago. And I just love what I do. We're able to help a lot of seniors.
That's awesome. Yeah, and you're very passionate in all our conversations. You always, you definitely embody and embrace everything that it is to help a consumer for the right reasons. What are some of the things and problems that you see that with, somebody that thinks they have no assets, thinks they're judgment proof and are uncollectible, that are left to question, wonder, their car value or other savings? Are there other things that are exempt?
Okay. Well, every state has an exemption, and virtually all seniors that we work with, lower income seniors, in any practical matter, all their personal possessions are protected. No one's going to go after their personal property. If someone got a judgment, no one's going to come in their house and take their dressers. Their cars, even if they're paid free and clear, as a practical matter, are protected from collectors. They're not going to bother with them. Even if they've got an expensive car that's over the particular state exemption, in 40 years of legal practice, I've seen one time where an unsecured creditor's ever gone after a car.
Doesn't happen.
Yeah, it just doesn't happen. It's a practical matter. So, but people can start worrying about things they don't need to worry about. Their income is protected, doesn't need to be used to pay this old debt.
So in the context of some of the things that it doesn't happen very often, because if you're lower income, you're blowing through the resources that you receive each month, such as your pension or Social Security. But in the event that we have somebody, or I'm talking with somebody who actually, is able to accumulate some money in their bank account in excess of, certain limits, what's your caution to people about, if they're living frugally, are judgment proof and able to save money? What would you tell them?
Well, okay, first off, there's a federal regulation that protects twice the amount of your Social Security that's in a bank account, no matter where the money came from in your bank account. And if a bank were to someone had a judgment against them and they got rid of garnishment, the bank or credit union is required not to even look at the garnishment. Okay, but if they had more in the bank account, as long as the source of the funds are from an exempt source, Social Security, a federal pension, a VA benefit, things like that, no matter what the amount, there's a federal law that protects that money. The state may say it's not worth that there's a certain amount, but the federal law trumps that. So no matter what a person has in their bank account, as long as it can be traced to federally exempt or pension monies, that's protected by law. We don't see it happen very often, so that persons have an excess amount. But I guess what is important is that you touched on that, is that if you do have a retirement amount, let's say an IRA or something, that it'd be important for seniors on limited income not to dip into that to pay old debt, because then they get themselves in a position they lose their nest egg for the future.
And this is important because people are going to be viewing this that are in the situation, right? They're the ones on disability. They're the ones that are limited in their retirement and their resources. So what would your message be to loved ones, people, family members that are out there doing the research for somebody that that they care about? Get in touch
Well,
with you, right? Helps. Can you
well,
guys
yeah,
pick
they
up the
can
phone?
get in touch with us. They need to realize that their parents' income is protected by law, cannot be touched. And for a lot of elderly, the telephone calls from collectors can be very painful and very disturbing. I talk to a lot of seniors that don't want to bother their kids. They don't want to get help. And I always tell the seniors, I say, listen, your kids love you. They want to help you. And often, with the senior's consent, we'll try to get the senior on the line with one of the kids so that they can understand what's going on and what mom or dad is doing and what we're doing to help mom and dad. And sometimes the mom and dad want to be involved. They just want the child to take over, and we can help that way too.
And I want people to know that that's okay, to reach out to you, to reach out to us, to just, look, it's okay. There's people out there that aren't trying to, rake you over the coals or anything like that. We want to help you. But
Yeah.
it's, you have to understand, and I want people, viewers, no matter what your situation is, to understand that what you said, Eric, about blowing through assets that are protected, trying to do the right thing or what you perceive to be the best thing for your situation, you are probably not going to be able to go out and earn money like you used to. You can't replace any income that you try and tap a 401k, an IRA, or any of those things to do something that you otherwise shouldn't do, because really, you need to take care of yourself and those, anyway. So,
one thing, Michael, people really worry about is, they're worried about my credit. Well, what's going to happen to my credit? And I tell them, I said, well, listen, we've already established you can't afford to pay the debt. And they acknowledge that. And just to keep paying it and running up the existing debt for a higher amount when you're eventually not going to pay it doesn't make sense. And when you think about it, even if you had perfect credit, no one's going to loan you any money probably as a practical matter, because your income's too low and you need it all for your food and your medicine and to support yourself. And it's possible to keep a credit card through our program. You choose not to pay other creditors and you pay one. But credit sometimes is difficult for older people to realize that eventually it's going to go away if your income is a lower income.
Or you don't even need any credit, and it's
you don't
silly
need
to
it.
hold on to it.
You don't need it normally. One thing you mentioned about guilt and debt. I just wrote an article for a newspaper in Florida. I deal with that all the time. Sometimes collectors lay a guilt trip on people, and they make them think that they're being a bad person. Well, when you incur debt, there's interest. You write a contract, and there's an acknowledgement that you may not pay the debt, and that's why there's interest there. That compensates the creditor, the person who's giving you the money, for those instances where they're not going to get paid. They know ahead of time that a certain percentage debt is not going to get paid. It's a matter of contract.
It's built into the business model.
Yeah, and you're not taking money away from a widow or for, it's a bank. They're making record profits. We know that. And then there's also a Judeo-Christian history of forgiveness of debt that comes from the Old Testament to our time. Congress has protected these monies, Social Security, pension, VA benefits, for the very reason that they don't want seniors to lose this income. They need it for their basic needs. That's the reason our lawmakers have protected these funds so that they're there for the senior and for their basic needs and can't be taken from them.
A friend of mine, he's a reporter, and he runs a very popular debt and credit related website. And he and I get in these very engaging conversations about the morality and where your moral obligation is when you're dealing with unaffordable debt. And really, we've been able to, because we both agree on the subject, it's not a heated debate. It's really, do you have a moral obligation to provide for yourself in your future to not be a bigger drain on society, because that's who's going to bear the costs if you can't help yourself or help yourself enough? Or do you have a moral obligation to pay a shareholder at a bank? And the fact of the matter is, from a societal perspective, and even distilled down to an individual perspective, you actually have, and I would argue very effectively, that there's a moral obligation to provide for yourself so that others aren't having to bear that burden.
Well, and we as a society don't want our seniors to suffer. I talked to a lady last week who had from Tennessee. She'd been eating peanuts for the last 2 weeks. And when we told her that, you don't have to pay this old debt, and she said, "You mean I can buy groceries?" And we said, "Yes, this afternoon." And I said, "Yes." She just broke down crying.
Right away,
And,
please.
we talk to people that cut their medicines in half.
Oh yeah.
They go without heat, and they don't need to do that.
That's correct.
They don't need to do that to pay this old debt. We as a society don't want them doing that.
I really want to thank you for coming out. I know this video is going to help a ton of people. It'll be on a specific page on the CRN website as well, which I'll link to, which you can click on now if you're watching this video and you want to see what that page is all about, protecting your Social Security, your disability, your pensions, exempt assets, and other things that are exempt from judgment creditors as well. But any final thoughts that you want to share with viewers?
With helps, you always have someone that you can call and talk to if you're worried or scared. We tell people, call us anytime. Our toll-free number is 855-435-7787. It's 855-HELPS-US. And our website is www.helpsishere.org. It's an acronym, Help Eliminate Legal Problems for Seniors and Disabled Persons.
Awesome.
And all they need to do is Google Helps Nonprofit Law Firm. We pop up all over everywhere. Many of our members pay a small amount each month, it's very affordable, it's very cheap, but a third of our members get our service for absolutely free.
Awesome. You're going to be back on DebtBytes, and we're going to cover some more information. But again, thanks so much for being here today.